Gary, it's been a while since we've spoken to you. First of all, how are you and how has the international break been for yourself and for the players?
Yeah, it's been good. I think, when you go into that period beforehand, of course, it wasn't the period we wanted in terms of results, but to finish it off, with a little bit of an improvement and certainly with a Watford game, to go into the break on a high. In some ways, you kind of probably want to play again. Then you probably don't want to wait 2 weeks where suddenly that feeling dissipates a little bit by the time you get to the end of it. But nevertheless, it was a good result for us. I think an important result. And then, of course, you can manage that time a little bit better. I think it's always a mixed bag. I think there's a lot of international players away. There's a core of players that have played a lot of games that probably need a little bit of a breather. And then there's a core of players who need a little bit of work because they haven't played as many games as they'd like. So you're always trying to find a balance, particularly in the first week, and then in the second week, of course, as you come towards days like today, when you're at the back end of the week, you want to make sure that preparation's spot on for the game back away at Middlesbrough. So yeah, it's been good. It's been a good break. You never quite know how well it's been until you start playing games again, unfortunately. But managed to get a little bit of time away, which was fantastic.
Yeah, and a couple of the lads were away on international duty as well. I think obviously the headline was Ola going over and scoring in 2 games for Indonesia as well, which as a manager, I can assume when he comes back can only be a good thing for his confidence and maybe what that breeds for the rest of the group.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what you want. You want your players to go away on international duty and come back in an even better spirit than they left. I think Ola's a classic example. Of course, I'm sure he would have traded the first goal in the first game for a better result for Indonesia, but nevertheless, it's nice for him to get off on the score sheet and start that sort of international career for him in a positive way. Of course, scoring in the second game as well, he'd be in good form. The challenge for some of these players, I think particularly for the likes of Ola and Marcelino, you've been to Australia, then you've been back to Indonesia, then you come back to the UK, and it's difficult to be in a position to then go and start games and straight away. And that's always the balance with any of the international players. Some have different types of trips, different types of journeys, and of course you hope that they come back firstly in one piece, and secondly, like you say, in good spirits and in good form. So yeah, it's been a tremendous sort of period for him in this 2 weeks, and helped enhance his development certainly in the UK.
Coming back in from the international break, 8 games left now. I think we can probably officially say that the run-in has begun. Does that just offer you some real clarity for yourself with such a short number of games in a condensed block?
Yeah, I think so. I think that often, you look at, certainly as a player, I used to look at when it gets down to 10 games and then single figures, that feels like the end of the season is not far away. So of course, whatever battle that you're in, whether that's at the top or the bottom or trying to get into the playoffs or whatever that might be, I think you get to the point where you start to ramp up the input. I think games are always important, but there is that heightened emotion that starts to come in when you get down to this point. And I think because of the international break gave it a natural cut off where it was almost, when you come back after international break, there's 8 games to go. Everybody knows what you're trying to achieve at that point, or every club knows what they're trying to achieve. And it's game on, really, isn't it? And I think it does, sounds very sort of, you want to keep a semblance of consistency. You don't want to suddenly feel like these games are any bigger than any others. But the reality is, that they are, and so therefore you want to put yourself in the best possible chance to win those games.
Yeah, I think if you're a supporter of a club in this final part of a season, as you mentioned, emotions certainly go up and down a bit more. I suppose that's the job for us, just to keep that level head, no matter if we win on Saturday or if we lose, because, as you mentioned, it could so easily just go up and down the emotional side of it.
Yeah, I think I was just about to say it. You probably at this stage, if you're a fan of a club, you don't want your team to have nothing to play for, but the thought of having nothing to play for in the middle of the table is quite appealing at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, you're right. I think what you do is you have the process in which you work. What I would say is mine doesn't change that much. I won't get too high, I won't get too low. I think I'll keep quite a level head regardless. I think that probably experience helps you in some of those moments. And I think what we want to do is with the players, we want to see it as I think there's different ways of looking at it. You can look at it and start, like I said, when I first came in, when we were second from bottom of the league, you can look at it and you can start panicking a little bit and looking down, or you can start to look up and see everything as a great challenge. It's a great opportunity for us. You know, when we first came in, yeah, okay, we're a little bit disappointed recently, but if we had said we're 4 points clear of the bottom three and just won the last game with a great opportunity to achieve what we want, then of course we'd have all took that. So it's about how we approach that. It's about the positivity in which we approach that. And ultimately, we've got to play really well in games of football to get the points we need, and that's the main focus.
How vital is it when you're at this stage that there is a real unity and togetherness, not just I'm talking about internally here, but as one as a club? Because if we win on Saturday, a lot of people might think, well, that's it. But if we lose, a lot of people might think it's the end of the world. So how important is it that everybody stays together as one?
Yeah, I think we spoke about that a little bit recently, haven't we, about how important it is as a club to stick together. I have to say, for even coming in some ways to a difficult scenario that we spoke about for many different reasons, but the fans have been brilliant. The fans have all been on board. We've had such a positive support at both home games, and you know, I think we always highlight the away games because the fact that people have travelled, but nevertheless, I think both are equally as important. I think that's been a big part of why we've managed to consistently get decent results, you know, because the fans are behind the players. And I think what they see also is hopefully they see a team that are trying everything they can to win games of football. We haven't done that every time, but we've certainly tried to do that every time. The games have been pretty close, games have been pretty competitive. I think that unity helps you hopefully get some of those games over the line. Yeah, I think everyone's pushing in the right direction. Everyone's pretty ambitious in what they want to achieve, and you know, I'm sure there'll be a few ups and downs and bumps in the roads in the last 8 games, but you know, hopefully we can get the results we need.
And on the way, fans, so there is a lovely 8-hour round trip for everybody on Saturday up to Middlesbrough, who are a team fighting for the playoff spots at the moment. What do you make of what they have at their disposal?
Well, first, I'll be happy with an 8-hour round trip, by the way. I think that it could be 8 hours one way with the traffic at times on a Friday. But yeah, look, they're a good team. I think they've got good players. I think they've lost quite a few players for different reasons, injuries or being sold. But they've still got a really talented group of players. I think that I've managed against Michael's teams on a few occasions. You know what their capabilities are. You know at home, those capabilities probably become a little bit more heightened because, of course, they want to do what we do at home, which is perform in front of your own fans, and you tend to have a little bit of an extra zip about your play. But we know what we need to do. We know the challenge. We know what we need to do. I don't think it. You know, if you're going away to Burnley, you're going away to Norwich, you're going to whoever you're going away to, I think the challenge of the game is the same, and the focus is really on what you need to do in order to get a top result. So. But they're a good side. They've got some really good players, and you know, I think they probably feel they've been a little bit inconsistent this season. But I think consistently they've been in around that top 6, which shows a little bit about what they are and how good their manager's been.
Well, good luck on Saturday, and yeah, let's hope we can all be singing at the end of the season. Perfect. Thank you.